I think every win obviously helps long term, but you only get there if you're focused on the important details. You can't worry about whether it's postseason play or Big Ten tournament every day. You got to worry about your habits, and I think what winning that game does is it sells that point probably more that everything we want is ahead of us, but you have to take care of business, and the business in that game was trying to find a way to win that game, whatever that looked like, and then you live for another day, kind of so to speak. So I just think it kind of hammers that point home.
And how do you assess the senior class as a whole as they go on senior night?
Yeah, I think probably the thing I'm most proud of is I thought from the beginning of the year till now, all of them have contributed in their own way, and I think they've all gotten better. And as a coach, I think that's the biggest compliment is you want guys to have success as a team individually, but you want them to feel like they've gotten better, and I think those guys have. And credit to their hard work, them sticking with the plan. But to see those guys get better, and from where we were from, even game one to be able to win at Nebraska, I think they've taken some pretty big steps.
How do you summarize this season, approaching this final home game of the regular season, and you've had so much ups and downs and huge upsets? Like, what's just kind of going through your head and settling into this final home game of the year?
Yeah, probably just I think we're playing our best basketball now. We look over the last 12, 13 games, whatever that might be, and that's what you want to. It's so hard. This new era is just so different, and when you're trying to replace 3 starters and you're bringing in new pieces and you don't have as much continuity as maybe some other teams do, it does sometimes take time, and so it's trying to weather that early part of the year, early part of the conference play. But to now get them to a point where they're confident, you get a little frustrated because you're like, man, if we could somehow have gotten this, a little bit earlier, then you don't know. But like to have them play the way they're playing now, confidence-wise, that's the exciting part. Now you don't want it to end. And for these guys, you don't want it to end. And to have that urgency of we want to keep playing as long as possible because we're playing good basketball. We're in a rhythm at a lot of spots. That's the motivator for not only myself, but for these guys. I mean, they know when they're playing well and they get along. But I think we got a lot of guys that don't want it to end. And so now it's finding ways to continue to do that. And there's one way of just the more you win, the more opportunities you get.
To that point, Coach, to keep winning and keep playing, I know it's hard not to do unless you're focused only on tomorrow night. But you've seen the projections came out for the Big Ten tournament. They have you guys 11th, I think, today.
I've not seen it, but
is it hard not to look ahead to that tournament or stay focused on the last 2 games?
For me, it's not at all because you only got 1 week. We got 2 games. You know what I mean? And so again, the Big Ten tournament is not going anywhere. I get your point. I guess my counter to that to our guys is like, what's set today isn't necessarily going to be the case come Sunday or whenever it's decided. The best way to have impact on that, or if you want to stay at 11 or improve or whatever it is you have to keep winning and just find ways to win. And so that's kind of been the sole focus. I think our guys, as a coach, you get to know like what you say to your guys that gets them right. And, different teams are different ways. And for this team, I think it is the simpler we can keep things, the better. They process that well for whatever reason. And so we've just tried to really kind of simplify it, like whether it's in game or out of game. Hey, let's just worry about today and having the best practice we can have today. I don't even want them worried about the game tomorrow. I want them to worry about having the best prep and be focused so that this 50, 60 minutes that we're on the court is really good. Then that will build confidence. We'll do a walkthrough tonight, and then we'll do prep tomorrow, and then we'll hopefully be ready to play tomorrow. For whatever reason, that formula has worked really well for these guys, so I just want them to keep it basic and boring, but like live in the now. I think sometimes we get so caught up, especially with a new group that hasn't been here. If you get caught up in what could be, you lose focus, and that's when all of a sudden now you're not, the urgency I think is gone, whereas we've learned this year we've got to have that urgency at all times.
How did Dawson come out of the game?
He's good. Obviously hurt his ankle. That's why I took him out. But we'll see today what it looking like. This time of year, every team I think has got a couple guys that either are practicing limited or not practicing at all. We've been fortunate. Knock on wood. We've been able to go full blast this year. So this will be the first time really where we've had guys maybe not go as much or go at all. And so we'll just be smart with it. But, I expect, him to see what it looks like tomorrow and give it a go.
How do you look at Tyler and chance for a medical redshirt and Brennan with the JUCO year and chance they might come back?
Yeah, you feel for TC just because I think we all kind of thought there was going to be a chance come December, maybe, but just it goes to show the human body and surgery, you never know. And he's done everything right. It's just sometimes your body responds, sometimes it doesn't. So we'll have to explore that. I don't know what with compliance, kind of what the rules are. Same thing with Brennan. I haven't really talked to him about what he wants to do or options. I'm sure he knows. I'm assuming he knows that he's got potentially another year. So I think going back to the question earlier, with this team, I've learned the more I put on their plate, the more I run the risk of them falling to the wayside. So I've really tried to just keep the main thing the main thing. So we'll have those discussions when they need to. And at the end of the day, I just want what's best for those guys, whether that's here, whether that's somewhere else, whether that's whatever it could be, turning pro. I want whatever's good for those guys.
With ROKKR and Dawson, probably like to have them for 4 or 5 more years. But they kind of represent. I mean, Wokai as well, but Dawson and they've been here for the longest. What do they represent as far as this culture?
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, I don't know how often this is going to be, but Fox has been here with me from day one.
Right.
And I think those are going to be few and far between because of the portal. So to have a guy, and I know he didn't play for 2, but literally, I mean, he was one of the first calls I made when I got the job. And so to have a guy with you for 4 years, I mean, he's seen, me as a first-year head coach, all the way to a fourth-year head coach. So I've kind of grown with him in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? He wasn't a Division I player, and I wasn't a Division I head coach. And we both kind of figured this thing out on the fly a little bit and seen each other fail, seen each other succeed. So from that standpoint, it's kind of cool, that he's the guy that has been with me the whole time. So it's going to be a little bit weird to not see him just in the building, I think you both agree he does need to move on. It's time for him to go explore life. But, yeah, no, it is. It's kind of like a comfort blanket. Like he's a guy you're just used to. You see him all the time in the facility. And he knows me and I know him. He knows how I want this thing to look. Same thing for Dawson. He's been here 3 years. But just you see him and he gives you confidence because of who he is. And so now you're trying to find, all right, who's that next guy? Hopefully that's Ike. A young guy he's a good player. He's going to get better. He gives you, you walk into the gym, guys like that give you confidence. Guys like that give you belief that like, okay, we're winning this game when you have really good players. So I think it's just that. It's like those are 2 guys that are staples that because they've been here for so long, kind of like a coach's blanket, so to speak.
Then you talked about winning at Pinnacle for the first time, kind of getting that over your back and beat Wisconsin. What would it mean to kind of be able to get over that?
Yeah, Pinnacle is probably a little bit more different because I worked there. So, I know how that place operates in this, being as an assistant coach. So I was here with Richard, obviously. So going through it with him and then being here as a head coach. So I've seen it from 3 different angles. So I think for that reason, it was like, that was a nice one. Just when you get it, you're like, man, and then to be told and realize, it's never been done was, I was good for these guys. That's what I wanted. We talk a lot about like a season's full of moments, and I want these guys to have memories and moments. And that's something they're always going to remember. They're the first team in Minnesota history to win at Pinnacle, and so I think that's cool. And then as far as Wisconsin, I mean, obviously we've got to hold our end of the bargain better, but they're such a good program, and they're just every year they're the same team, but they're really hard to beat. They have really good players. They coach really well. So I think, you want to obviously have your best foot forward against them. To me, it's more of like I want to play well because we've been playing well more than anything. Like I want to try to keep that in perspective that can we now, the hurdle is we've done it a little bit, back-to-back games where we're playing well at the end of the season. That's the challenge. Like, again, you want to play your best basketball now. So can we emotionally handle it? I think that's the thing. There's going to be a ton of people here. It's senior night. You're coming off a good win. Can we emotionally handle everything that's going to be coming tomorrow. I don't think we necessarily handled that well the last 2 home games. And that to me, I'm more worried about that. I mean, the opponent is who they are. They're really good. We got to make sure we're right. When we're right, we play well. But it's the emotional piece that's going to come with the game from not just your opponent, but just, again, senior night, sold out. You just had a big win on the road. It's the end of the year. People are going to talk about all the extra stuff. Can you block that out and just focus like we do on the road?
At the same time, guys like Dawson and Parker who decided to come back, Minnesota guys, probably beating Wisconsin was somewhere in there.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. Yeah, no, I mean, those guys, as from a player standpoint, players look at it differently than coaches, you know. But yeah, from a player standpoint, I'm sure they view it a little bit different too, to be able to say in your tenure you got to win versus Wisconsin. Those guys obviously know the tradition that both schools have. So yeah, you know, they got a little bit of extra motivation to go out, and then again, being senior night, that too. So.
What were the defensive bullet points that you wanted to see at Nebraska to kind of get back?
Yeah, I thought the first one, the last 2 games, for whatever reason, we played through our offense and did not play through our defense, and it showed. Yeah, we made shots early, but we were never engaged in the game. So that was the first thing, was like, our mind frame this is a defensive game. We're going to play through our defense. We're going to win with our defense. The defense will lead to offense. So having that mind frame was big. And then I think we had to reestablish just some base principles. Pick and roll defense, we had to reestablish our identity there. We had to be much better in our pick and roll defense. We had to be much better in our box help, our secondary defense off the ball, and our help line defense. And just within that have much more physicality, much more resistance. Had to be more aggressive. I mean, we showed them clips of like what it looks like when our defense is dialed in and there's urgency and there's aggression, and what it looks like when it's not, and it's night and day. And it starts with the pick and roll, and it starts with just the mentality. Are you at the level of the ball? Are guards fighting over the top? Is the backline defense set? Is it casual? So getting back to all those like basic day one principles of identity, and then our scheme, we just had to play harder, you know, and again, it had to be a mind frame of this is not an offensive game, that we have to play through our defense, and that's got to be who we are from here on out. Like these guys are explosive, and they put 90s up on teams. So if we think our offense is going to win this game, we're kidding ourselves. It's not, right? We have to get stops, and we have to, you know, have that physicality.
Brennan had a big shot, but would he have been in at the end of the game if he wasn't playing defense?
No, and to Brennan's credit, I think it was this game, and I think at Penn State, if I'm right, maybe Yale, his first shot was something at the rim. And that's a tone setter, right? It's easy for a guy that can make shots, your first shot is a 3. That's hard to do, right? But if your first shot is something at the rim, in the paint, it's a mindset thing. So when he took that first shot, just like at Penn State, and it was at the rim, I was like, okay, like he's dialed in, he's paying attention, he's listening. And then I don't know if you guys have seen the thing that's so crazy about that last shot was Orlando. So somebody sent me the video of the plays, and it is like a glitch in the Matrix, because I don't know if you've seen it. We had the same personnel, the same spacing on the floor was identical. I mean, it was identical. I've never seen it like this. It was the identical play, right? Femi takes it out. Even his body language to take it out on the outlet looked the exact same. Frank's running the exact same way. Ike's running. They stop at the exact same spot. Lukai's pass is the exact same area he passed in Orlando. Brennan's running to the exact same spot in Orlando. It was the same catch and shoot. Like, it's eerie. But my point to the guys was, I don't know how that shot didn't go in Orlando. I don't. It's almost impossible to not go in. But Brennan never changed from that shot. He was the same guy every single day. And I think the basketball rewards guys. And he was given another opportunity in a scary, similar, the exact same scenario. And it goes in because he earned that with who he is, by his work every single day. And it's just a lesson to our guys. Like, it doesn't matter. You're going to have adversity. It's so much of it is how you handle it, and do you respond the right way? Are you about the right stuff? And he gets rewarded because he was about the right stuff. But to get rewarded in the almost identical play, to me, is like, it's crazy.
I have a quick sidebar question for you. I interviewed Louise Plum recently.
Oh, yeah.
Doing a piece on her. She put you in her Christmas card.
Really? Really? I didn't know
Cheering on
that.
the Gophers gopher 75 years later, and you're in her card.
Oh, wow.
Just what's it like for you to have someone like her, 90 years old, most dedicated fan, doesn't miss a home game. She's there for the highs and lows. Like, as a coach, like to have something like that as reliable as her in the stands, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Actually, I was going to try to find her after the last game and apologize because we wanted to win. That would have been cool to win, and obviously we didn't. But I think that's like a remarkable stat. I think, what was it, 1941, 49? That she had like her first ticket, which is incredible. I mean, the how she's seen, obviously, just the landscape of gopher basketball change and develop over time. No, I mean, I think it's awesome, and to have her still have the energy to come out, you know, in the winters and through good seasons and bad seasons, and still to be a devoted fan. Those are the true fans. Those are the ones that I care about, that our guys respond to. Like the highs and the lows, the good or the bad. I mean, it doesn't matter who's out there. Like, she's going to support the team, and no, I think it's awesome. And hopefully we got a bunch more wins left for her.
5 years with this program.
Yeah.
With Ben.
Yeah, I think. I went through it last year, so doubling down on senior nights. But I don't know. I've had people joking at me, saying it's your 8th year. How many senior nights are you going to get? But no, in all seriousness, just super proud, super honored, not only to be a part of this program, but to be a part of it for as long as I was. To go through all 4 of Ben years. The only player that's been with Ben for all 4 years. So just super proud of kind of the direction that he's led this program, and then just for me to be kind of a brick in that process. When I was recruited here, that was kind of the message is, being a Gopher fan and being a lifelong fan is I get to put myself as kind of a brick in the direction that this program wants to go. So super proud, super honored to be a part of that, and then just to have my family here. Obviously, for my basketball career, they've been a big part of it, so super looking forward to it, and to do it against a rival team will be a lot of fun.
Ben talked about how he's grown as a coach.
Yeah.
He came in and he was the first time, your first time being one guy. What did you see in him as he kind of developed as a coach in his last 4 years?
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy being a coach, especially in this league, and being a coach in general now at this level, just with all the moving parts with NIL and the culture that creates. And I think, Ben's a guy that wants to create culture, and that's really hard to do in general, but especially nowadays with all the moving parts. So I think I give him a lot of credit just for the work that he's done to kind of create that. And you see changes around the program every year, not only with bringing different guys in, and I've spoke on it countless times about, Coach Johnson recruits character, and I think that's something that's important. In my 4 years, we've really never had a locker room problem. We've never had a guy that's been a problem. We've all been really close, and we've been good friends and pals, and we all have our group chats from the last 3 years still going. So I think that's a testament to him. You got to recruit talent. You got to do that to stay alive, to stay afloat. But he's recruited talent and character at a really high level. So I think just kind of making that your identity is going to give him a really good chance going forward. Yeah.
Parker, the rules that have been in place since COVID
Yeah.
have allowed, yourself, Dawson, ROKKR, to play 5 years.
Yeah.
For you, obviously a lot longer than that, but 5 years on the court.
Yeah, that's right.
What do you think about that, and why is that opportunity good for athletes?
Yeah, I think any opportunity you get to play at the college level and to keep doing it for a long time is awesome. I think these guys would do another year if it was granted to them as well. Especially NIL makes that even easier of an answer. But for me, importantly, just coming back for this 8th year and counting as my 5th year playing was just a no-brainer once I really sat down and thought about it, and especially with everything I had going on in my life and kind of where I was at, and just super grateful for it because hoops could have been done, so another year comes into fruition, and why not jump on that opportunity? And it's been an awesome year. Obviously there's been highs and lows, but really love where this team is at right now. Just the fight and the resolve that we have as a group, and the trust that we have for one another. I think we're going to put that on display on senior night.
Ben talked about the importance of checking the box in Nebraska. What would it mean to beat Wisconsin?
Yeah, obviously that was a big one at Nebraska. I hadn't won in that building, but Wisconsin's a box that I've wanted to check since I came here. and a box that I wanted to check this year, especially just not beating them the first 3 years and being so close so many times. Some tough battles at the Kohl Center, and then they got us pretty good there this year. So I think that's just a box that I've always wanted to check, and I truly believe that if we just stick to who we are, we don't have to change a whole lot. If we stick to who we are and we execute the game plans that the coach put in front of us, that we're going to have a good chance to do that. So it's all about just trusting each other, trusting the coaching staff, and going out there and just playing as hard as we possibly can. And if we do that and don't look up the scoreboard and just do what we can do, I think it's going to be in our favor at the end of the night. Yeah.
It's easy to kind of look at the transfers that came in and see all the seniors. Frank has another year. What did you see in his development?
Oh man, yeah, super excited for him. I think he had that tough shoulder injury to kind of start the year, and just since then he's only gotten better. And I think if you look at the past couple of the games down the stretch, he's been a dominant force for us. And I tell him, like, dude, I've told him all year, it's like we need you. Like when we're a good team, you're playing well, and it doesn't need to be 25 points. It doesn't need to be 20 points. It needs to be the little things that he does, finishing dump down passes, grabbing rebounds, and just having that energy. And when he's locked in with that energy, he's really unstoppable. So not only looking forward to the rest of this year, but looking forward to keep my eye on him next year. And I'll be a Gopher fan for a long time, so I'm definitely going to be in his ear as well next year. So no doubt. Thanks, guys.
I feel like it's grown a lot. Just kind of just being more confident, new league, new system. So, throughout the season, I just get more and more confident just actually knowing how to play in the system and, knowing the ins and outs of it.
That's your second time against Wisconsin, but you're in Minnesota. How do you look at kind of this rivalry?
They're our next door neighbors, so I know it means a lot to the fans here. It just feels like a Viking Packer rivalry. So, to really want to get this one for Minnesota, it's a really big one.
It's also your senior night, your last home game, like all those things put together. It's hard not to put a lot of emotion into it.
Pretty sure there's gonna be a lot of emotion tomorrow. But I'm here for a reason, just to try to win these games. We got a big goal in mind, so I'm not trying to let that sidetrack that. Knowing what we got to do, try to get this one. It's good momentum going into the tournament, and then we got one more, but this is a big one for, confidence for the guys and us. So just trying to stay focused, even though, and enjoy this moment at the same time. But not getting sidetracked from what we need to do.
When you look at just the landscape of college basketball, you're playing your fifth year, a lot of other guys are, like, how cool was it just to get that opportunity to come home and for a lot of you guys, you're seniors and playing your fifth year?
Like I said, when I get to ask this question, it's just a surreal moment. Just to even be here, from watching the Gophers as a kid and, seeing actually ex-Gophers in the stands watching me play as a Gopher is pretty cool. And then just having my family in the front row every night is, something I couldn't even, fathom. It just feels great, man, and I'm just happy that I got this opportunity and this chance to play for my city and my hometown. So.
Oh, kind of asked about the shot.
Oh.
Once again, you gave it up. But,
yeah. Nah, it was funny because it was actually the same sequence of Wichita State, and just me trusting my teammates and. Kind of just being poised in those moments, knowing we didn't have any timeouts. It was just kind of like the Michigan play and the Wichita State play. But just trying to be poised as I can, and seeing him open. He for what I think he missed one shot at that time. So I was just like keeping that in my mind, like, oh, he's open. They just left him open. He hit two. So. Just a big shot from a big-time player like him, and it's, like I said, good momentum right now for us. I don't even know if we're in like a 3-4-way tie or something like that. Just good to get that one, and coming back home, and then you get this rivalry. Just good momentum coming into this game.
What were you dealing with at the end of the game? Was it just exhaustion, just fatigue, or what were you dealing with?
Yeah, just some anxiety stuff. Sometimes you could get overwhelmed with the moments. But nothing I couldn't handle. just a lot of pressure situations. Just try to stay calm and composed. And it probably was a little bit of fatigue too. I'm not even gonna lie, cause yeah, when I couldn't even hear myself thinking there. So it was. I'm good though. Just like I said, just a little bit of anxiety, just overwhelmed. Big time moment. So just try to stay locked in and keep my head in there. So.
Is that what you said on the floor, just to kind of give yourself?
Yeah, just try to put my head, just try to, catch my breath, not really just try to, because, you in the huddle, it's like hot, it's a lot of emotions in there, people asking you questions. It was like, I just need to, let me just calm down. I asked what the play was after this. So it was, that was good. I got to catch my breath and got to compose myself.
Thanks, Jack.
Yeah.